We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. A playground for some. For others, it's where they make their living. But the sea's unpredictable.
Things with the seas, you've got to respect it. The sea will do what the sea wants to do.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of over 5,000 ordinary people, ready to leave their jobs, their families, and race to our rescue.
When the pager goes off, your heart races. You just want to do the right thing.
Straight out, straight out. Oh my God.
Seconds can make the difference between life and death.
Right. You come to me through. Go, man. Go, go, go.
There's no better sight than that ship coming through the water. There's no better sight.
Equipped with their own cameras.
Am I recording?
Yeah, it's flashing.
The crews give us a unique insight into every call-out, as only they see it.
It's all right, I got you, I got you.
I got you, darling.
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
Bringing people back to their loved ones is what it's all about. You know, that's what we do the job.
They saved my life. They absolutely saved my life.
Hold on!
The volunteer crews of the lifeboats rely extensively on their training and experience.
So we're looking for a man overboard.
But there's always room for one extra element on every shout.
Luck does play a little part in lifeboating. It's mainly skill and using everything that you've been trained on.
Hello?
But there's definitely a certain amount of luck.
You guys all right?
Yeah, I do touch wood and that kind of thing, just because you don't want to be that person that doesn't.
Here's a bridle for you.
I've got a pair of socks at the station, which I've had since I've joined the crew 13 years ago. They have been washed since. I always wear them out on every shout that I do.
Right, guys.
I know them as my lucky socks now.
OK, mate. You're going to have to put the blanket on it.
I'm not superstitious, but I wouldn't whistle.
Get it down.
I think you make your own luck, and the more you practice, the luckier you can be.
But it's not always luck at sea that distinguishes a lifeboat crew. Up in Scotland, the Loch Ness station has a fair claim to be the luckiest in the country in love.
I think we had 5 couples involved with the lifeboats not so long back. We had Howie and Sandra. We've got Joanna and Neil, their husband and wife. We've got Ian and Chantel, me and Leanne. And then there's my brother and my sister-in-law as well, which are both crew. Something in the water. And it's not Nessie.
Jack moved up to Loch Ness after meeting girlfriend Leanne while on a cycling trip in Scotland.
Let you go for them ones. So we met on Tinder. Jack is actually from Yorkshire. Jack was in the area doing a 24-hour bike race because he's crazy. We matched and we never stopped talking to each other. Talking about a beautiful love story.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? You only wanted bike advice.
Yeah. I couldn't actually see what Jack looked like from his photos, but he had a nice car and a bike. So it was only a matter of time before we moved up here. By the time he moved, he'd met all the crew and everything else, so you just slotted straight in, didn't you?
That's it. The crew are like a family, like a nice family to us. So when I moved up, I had no real family up here, and there was my family for the first couple of years. Ready?
Yeah.
And then wash us through. Being a land baby from Bradford, and then to come here and to find out that a lifeboat on Loch Ness was confusing, to say the least. Obviously now I understand why there is, because nasty bit of water, really.
People do underestimate Loch Ness. They see it as a lake, just a little pond. What have you got to worry about? But it's so long. We can get waves of 3 meters on there. It's also really, really deep. It's 230 meters deep. But the biggest risk factor is probably the temperature. It's a frigid 6 degrees all year round. The temperature doesn't change.
These low temperatures are caused by the sheer size of the loch, which contains as much water as all the lakes in England and Wales combined, and also the particular nature of the water.
never freezes, it never warms up, because it's so black with the peat content, so the light can't penetrate and warm it up. The water is cold enough that it would be able to kill you.
Probably the Loch Ness Monster is Loch Ness.
Late April. After a quiet winter, the sun is shining. The loch is busy, and an urgent call comes into the Coast Guard.
The information we had was that there were 2, potentially 3 casualties in the water. Yeah, stick it on.
Worst case scenario for us, really. 3 persons in the water. We all know how cold that loch is.
Okay, launching.
It's not something we get very often, so we know it's serious.
Call the Coast Guard, let them know we're en route.
Aberdeen Coast Guard, Aberdeen Coast Guard.
We need to get out quick.
Got the images now.
So we're suited and booted and set off as fast as possible.
The casualties have been reported in the water by Urquhart Castle, which is luckily right by the station.
When we launched, there was a lot of traffic around the castle area. The Coast Guard had tasked all vessels in the area to assist, so there were cruise boats, there were private boats, there was the helicopter. There were lots of people looking, there was lots of noise on the radio coming in.
It takes the crew just 3 minutes to reach location, only to find that despite the intensive search, the 3 casualties are still missing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vessels here, but there's certainly no signs of anyone waving on the shore, and there's certainly nobody to be seen in the water at this point. Over.
It's not a nice feeling when there's no sign of your casualty, especially when you've got so many assets in the area looking.
See the 2 boats are searching. Are you want us to stay on scene?
Your heart sinks straight away, and you just think, where are these boys? What's going on? General guidelines is like an hour-ish that you can survive in the sea, but in the loch, because it's half the temperature of the sea, you roughly get half the time.
You wouldn't want to be in the loch any longer than 10 minutes, if at all. Once you start going past the 20-minute mark, you're going to be in serious trouble.
There's definitely a feeling that you're running out of time. We'd been on the water for maybe 20 minutes at this point, so 20, 25 minutes the casualties been in the water.
The crew continue their search, constantly listening to the radio for any news of the 3 missing people.
We are getting reports that the person in the water northeast of the castle.
We were heading north on the south shore, and the helicopter disappeared actually over our heads at quite a speed. So we were sure they'd seen something.
It's pointing that way.
It felt like everything was moving twice as fast as it was, because the adrenaline's pumping, because you know it's a time-critical shout. As we approached, we saw the helicopter slow right down and start circling this one area.
There's someone in red on the back there, and there's someone on the right-hand side.
Thought, yeah, they found him. We watched the winchmen drop into the water. They were in the water for maybe a couple of minutes, and then they winched up the casualty.
From our perspective, we were unable to tell in what sort of situation he's in, if this guy's still breathing. You're just desperate to see an arm move or a leg kick, anything, and there was nothing.
Were they ill, drowned, dead, alive? We had no idea.
Correct, this is Aberdeen Coast Guard. We've just had an update that the helicopter has recovered the casualty from the water.
It's quite harrowing to see someone be winched out of the water, lifeless.
As the helicopter speeds away, the crew receive news that the other 2 casualties have managed to swim ashore.
Loch Ness Lifeboat, this is Aberdeen Coast Guard, over. Would you be positioned to retrieve the other 2 casualties, over?
Once the helicopter headed towards the hospital, we were then tasked by the Coast Guard to go and pick up the 2 guys that had made it to shore.
Aberdeen Coast Guard, Loch Ness Lifeboat. Copy. We will pick the casualties from the shore.
The crew head to the new location, planning to take the casualties across the lake to get them to hospital quicker. But as they draw closer to the shore, they realise that getting the casualties into the lifeboat won't be easy.
To get to the shore at Loch Ness can be quite tricky. The geography of the loch is it's basically like a bathtub. It's very difficult to actually take the nose of the boat onto the shore without damaging the bottom of the boat. So we got our 2 crew members in.
Okay, guys, go.
So you're jumping off your nice, safe orange lifeboat into the dark, murky depths of Loch Ness. Until you eventually make it to shore.
On the dry so it's not leaking.
The crew make it to shore, ready to offer medical assistance and recover the casualties.
When we got to shore, the police were already there. We could see one of the boys under a foil sheet. He looked so cold. Your heart went out to him.
Hi, buddy. How's it going?
I was so cold and just shivering. Never shivered like it. I don't remember too much about it. Even though I was on the beach, I'd still not seen James and I'd still not seen Davey, and was still assuming that they'd not made it and died.
Alex and his 2 boyhood friends, James and Davey, were on day 3 of a 4-day canoe expedition when disaster struck.
Come on, boys. We were all turning 30 about the same time, and we came up with the idea to do 30 things before we turned 31. And one of the things that was on the list was to do the Caledonian Canal trip, which goes from Inverness down to Fort William. And we'd never been in a canoe before. It was a gift from a friend of a family.
That was a good joke.
So we took this rickety old canoe, sat in it for the first time, and off we went. So on the 3rd day, we were crossing Loch Ness.
Day 3, time to tackle the Ness.
And it was about halfway across the loch that this wind had actually started to pick up. The waves were starting to lap over the canoe, which pulled the boat lower and lower. Before you knew it, we were all in. Once a few boats had passed and we realised that we weren't going to get the attention of them, it was then that we made the decision to head to shore, which was probably about a kilometre away. We were very cold at this point and we'd only been in like 1 minute and already you could feel it. So we're on our backs. You can't really see around you because you've just got a big inflatable tube around your head. And then after a while I turned around to see where people were. And that's when I couldn't see my dog, couldn't see the boys. To be honest, I thought everybody else had drowned. I felt it was only me left. I thought I was going to die that day.
But unbeknown to Alex, someone on the shore had spotted him.
You could see him bobbing up and down. You could see his life jacket. Lily, my daughter, she was jumping and shouting. So we really trying to motivate him to carry on swimming.
I heard someone shouting and I saw some people and they're waving at us. That really sort of gave me hope and I was just like, I can do this. We eventually got onto the beach and because I was so cold, I just collapsed. And that's when someone put their arms around me and it was just like the nicest feeling ever.
My mum and dad had set up almost like a shelter with brollies and whatever they could grab. They'd got blankets, towels.
As Helen and her family comfort Alex, the third missing casualty also makes it ashore.
I remember James coming onto the beach, and that was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And then I saw a little Springer Spaniel with a stick in his mouth, and he was like, "Dad!" And it was the happiest moment, because that's when I realised that my dog was a better swimmer than I was.
With the casualties too exhausted to be transferred to the lifeboat, they're put instead into police cars.
Thank you so much.
To be driven the long way round the lake to the same hospital their friend Davy has already been taken.
So we never actually found out how he was doing until we all got to the hospital.
Look at him. There's always one in there.
I can't remember anything at all from being taken out of the water, put on the thing in the helicopter, and then I was in hospital.
They call him Hypothermic Davy.
I was definitely severely hypothermic when I landed in the hospital. From what I understand at that point, your vital organs start to shut down and protect your heart. I remember the nurse saying that my body temperature was severe, which scared me to death straight away, and I could feel that it was severe. I thought James and Alex were both dead, so to see them was incredible. It was that realisation of how bad that was and how much worse it could have been.
Back on Loch Ness, the crew, having recovered the sunken canoe, returned to the station to good news about the casualties.
It was brilliant to hear that the 3 casualties and the dog were absolutely fine.
Oh, good shot. Flip it over.
And it was a pleasure to be able to get their canoe back to them as well, with the sentimental value that it held.
Well done, everybody.
The boys that got rescued were incredibly lucky that day.
Raising engines.
Lucky that someone spotted the life jackets. Also sensible for actually having life jackets on to be able to be spotted.
Lifeboat launcher received. Recovering now. Over.
We were so grateful for all the emergency teams and the RNLI. Helen and her family were actually the saviours, because they were the ones that spotted us out in the water. They were the ones that rang the alarm. They were the ones that saved us.
Over 500 miles away, at the opposite end of the United Kingdom, is the Lizard, a rugged Cornish peninsula with several claims to fame.
We're located at the most southerly point in mainland of the UK.
Yeah, the Lizard could be on the edge of the world, really. We stick out that little bit further into the English Channel.
The Lizard also watches over one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world.
We have car-carrying vessels, large bulk carriers, fishing vessels, leisure craft, nuclear submarines, warships, you name it, probably seen it all here.
With up to 400 vessels a day passing through this narrow stretch of water, the seaways around the Lizard also claim another darker distinction, one revealed by its nickname, the Graveyard of Ships.
Oh yeah, my goodness me. The Lizard Point, over the years, has taken a tremendous amount of vessels with wreckage.
Down on the point, there's a big reef. There's the best part of, I don't know, it's probably about 15 wrecks, if not more than that there. We get real bad fog between here and Land's End. Back in the olden days, if you lost your bearings, you more than likely end up on the rocks.
Which is exactly what happened on the 17th of March 1907, when the steamer SS Suvik ran aground on the Mania Reef, a quarter of a mile off Lizard Point. Crews from Lizard and 3 other local stations worked for 16 hours in thick fog, stormy seas, and open wooden lifeboats to rescue the passengers and crew. 456 people in total, with not a single life lost.
You talk about Iron Men and wooden boats. Well, that was because you needed to be really, really brave.
To this day, it's still the largest maritime rescue I've carried out. So it's quite unique, the Suvik, yeah, very special.
The ships may be more high-tech now, both the ones that get in trouble and the ones that come to rescue them, but the Lizard can still live up to its dangerous reputation. Early March 2014. The Coast Guard receives a mayday from the merchant vessel Sea Breeze.
A mayday is a vessel that's in immediate distress and wants immediate assistance. Got then to the boathouse and was told his coaster was taking on water, and we could actually see her from the station.
The current Lizard boathouse, opened in 2012, is built into the cliffs that loom over the shipping lanes, allowing them to respond immediately to urgent calls like these.
When a commercial vessel calls a mayday, we take it really seriously. They are professional seamen, they do it as a job. So for them to call a mayday, it must be really serious.
The crew quickly launched their all-weather lifeboat, then head to location at their top speed of 25 knots.
She's about 6 or 7 miles east of the station.
There's always an urgency to get there as soon as possible and try and get it sorted out as soon as possible. If you lose the boat, the boat's replaceable. We save lives. That's what we're there for.
We were well on the way before we actually heard that Falmouth were on their way as well.
Because of the seriousness of a mayday call to a potentially sinking ship, the Falmouth lifeboat and a Navy helicopter have also been called out. But it's the Lizard lifeboat based only 10 miles away that is first to arrive.
Oh, she was big. I don't know what footage it was or what tonnage, but she was a fair vessel.
You see on her. She's listing.
It was wallowing. She was quite low in the water.
Not only is the ship riding dangerously low, the behavior of the crew also suggests she may be close to sinking.
Seeing the ship's crew preparing their rescue boat, preparing to abandon their vessel, then you know that there's something seriously gone wrong.
If I'd have said to them, come on, jump aboard, they'd have been over the rail like a rabbit.
The lifeboat crew break out their portable salvage pump and prepare to board the Sea Breeze.
Give him a signal how far he's got to go.
It was me and a fellow crewman, Nick. We jumped on board with the salvage pumps.
Oh, fine. Where to?
Emergency entrance is over there. Emergency entrance of engine room.
Darren and Nick carry the lifeboat's small salvage pump to the engine room, hoping it will be enough to tackle the floodwater.
Oh, this one.
Well, I was expecting to open the hatch and walk down and go through a door and see a bit of water in the build. We opened this hatch and the water was halfway up to the top of the hatch.
You realise then, my goodness me, this vessel's taken on a lot of water in a very short time.
So at any point could sink quicker than anyone knows it.
Though the water level is worryingly high, for the moment it appears to be confined in one area by the ship's internal bulkheads.
A bulkhead is a brick wall, or the equivalent of a brick wall. The ship is built around the bulkheads form the frame of the ship. The watertight bulkhead between the engine room and the actual cargo hold was still intact, so all the water that was coming in was being contained in the engine room and not going any further.
But with the weight and volume of water steadily increasing, the bulkhead will not hold forever, so the water needs to be pumped out urgently.
Well, the pumps we carry on the lifeboat, realistically, are designed for small craft, a yacht. Literally chuck a hose down the bilge, start it up, pump it out, 10 minutes. You've pumped a 30-foot boat out. But when you come across, like, say, a small coaster, our pumps aren't really designed to keep something like that afloat.
The salvage pump can shift 175 gallons a minute, but only has a 20-foot long hose, which on a ship this size is proving to be another problem.
What do you reckon we got? 20 foot? There's a lot of water in it. Don't think ours is going to be long enough to pump that much water out.
It's not enough.
The inbound Navy rescue helicopter is bringing a larger pump with longer hoses, but is still several minutes away.
Where's the other hose lit? The coiled one. Something. You got that one there. Yeah, have that one.
Down there.
Blue one. Have that one.
Yeah.
With the engine room rapidly filling with water and the risk of sinking growing by the second, Darren and Nick do what they can with what they have.
Hopefully she might.
By linking several hoses together, the crew managed to cover the distance, and 5 minutes after coming on board, they prepared to start the pump.
No, do it, pull it now. Just pull that right through. It's just come right through the handle.
With a broken handle, the pump won't start. But after more frantic improvisation, they finally get the pump going. Just as more help arrives by air and by sea.
A helicopter from Colrose, they approached with their version of our pump, which was larger capacity, and then Falmouth Lifeboat arrived.
Falmouth got the same sort of pump. So we had 3 pumps on board.
The crew quickly get all 3 pumps working flat out to try and lower the rising floodwater. But barely minutes into the operation, they hit yet another snag.
He's blocking up!
Unfortunately, there's a lot of flotsam debris mixed in with the seawater, and it was clogging up the intakes at the bottom.
Got paper tissue and all that stuff in there. Just clog it right up.
The pumps were literally one in, one out, unblocked with bits of tissue, bits of rag. By the time you take it out, clear it, reprime the pump, you're talking 4 or 5 minutes. You was doing that to every pump continuously, and you was just fighting really a losing battle.
Let it go on top of that. Top of that was showing a minute ago. Because the pumps are blocking out, the water's coming in faster, and we get it out.
You're just thinking to yourself, how long can we sustain this? You know, what will we be able to do?
The crew carry on pumping and clearing, knowing that if they can just keep the water contained in the engine room, the ship may still be saved.
20 minutes or so later, it was becoming obvious, well, we're not actually doing very much. And then the water disappeared.
Hey, water's just gone! Where's the water gone? It's dropped about 4 foot!
Right in front of my eyes, the water just went from 10 or 15 foot up this hatch, and it just dropped to nothing. There was no water in sight. Just completely disappeared.
Dropped a good 4 or 5 foot in it. Yeah, it's a bulkhead's gone, I think.
If one or more bulkheads have given way, it means the water is no longer contained in just the engine room and is flooding into the rest of the ship, putting the sea breeze and all those on board in imminent danger of sinking.
You gotta go! Go off!
At this point in time, not knowing how many bulkheads have just gone, it's time now to think about abandoning ship.
You're gonna take the crew off. Hey, take the crew off, run her off. Leave away the other one!
There's a bit of an urgency about it. There's a bit of a rush on. Get them off, get the crew to safety.
Are they all ready to come off? Yeah. Are you all ready to go?
Falmouth Lifeboat went in. We took the crew off. It must have been awful for them, realising that, my goodness me, this is real. We're leaving our vessel, she's taking on water. Very daunting, yeah. The master, the big gentleman with the moustache, he was last to leave. He wasn't going to leave his vessel until everyone else did.
That's everybody. That's all the crew.
After we transferred all the crew,
Hoses there.
we transferred all the pumps back onto Falmouth's lifeboat.
Let's get ours out. Yo.
The crew scramble to retrieve the gear.
What about the helicopter pump? We'll get that off as well. All right, then. It's now coming back up. Yeah, the water's dropped about 5 foot. Now it's coming back up.
With all the kit now retrieved,
Take that.
the lifeboat crew race to abandon ship themselves. Darren is the last to leave.
You look back, sea breeze was still floating. She was wallowing. It's very slow roll motion. You know she'd taken on more water.
She's going down.
Yeah, settling.
But like, done our bit. The crew was safe.
The lifeboats stand off, watching the sea breeze roll slowly in the gentle sea as they wait for a tug to arrive from Falmouth.
You know, we're not a salvage operation, we are there to help save lives at sea. The salvage tug came out, they put their own men on the boat, then they take control then.
These tugs, they've got pumps the size of a dustbin. You chuck it in and it'll pump anything out.
In the end, through a combination of quick thinking from the lifeboat crew and extremely kind weather conditions, the sea breeze was saved.
It was a pipe failure in the engine room which flooded her.
On a stormy day, that vessel would have gone down, without a doubt.
We'd done what we had to do. Went there, done our bit, saved the crew, and lucky enough, at the end of the day, the boat was saved.
The luck was on our side. The wind direction was correct, hardly any swell. So it was very, very fortunate. It could have been a lot worse. Very fortunate, yeah.
Around 200 miles due north of the Lizard, perched on the extreme edge of the Welsh coast, lies the old fishing port of Abersoch.
Abersoch is a little village on the Llŷn Peninsula. It's just a small village, massive holiday destination for people.
A lot of tourism here. Paddleboard, powercraft, you know, the usual thing that comes with a seaside resort. Yeah, very nice place though.
Because it's so gorgeous here, people do go out to sea and they think it's this idyllic place where they think, oh, actually, you know, the sea looks really calm. And they don't realise if the wind direction changes or the tide changes, their day could change very quickly. There have been issues, particularly through this summer, with people getting in trouble with rips. I think because it's so varied geography here, you know, we have got the rocks, the tides, the cold, and it can be quite exposed as well. There's a bit of everything.
Early August. After a run of poor weather, the sun is threatening to appear and the beaches are starting to fill.
Initial information was that we had a paddleboarder who was struggling off the coast of Aberdaron.
The weather, it was a bit windy that day, blowing offshore from Aberdaron Bay. Which is never a good thing if you're going to a paddleboarder in that area.
As the crew prepare to launch, they receive more information from the Coast Guard revealing the casualty is a teenage boy.
Urgency should be the same regardless of who we're going to, but I think with young people or children, there is that need to get there as quickly as you possibly can.
The crew launch their Atlantic 85 and head to Aberdaron Bay, 13 miles away, at their top speed of 35 knots.
So after we launched, more information started to come through that there was a possibility he was no longer with his board. So instantly that becomes much more serious. You know, somebody in the water for us is pretty much the most serious that a call gets, particularly when you know it's going to take us a little while to get there.
It takes the crew 20 minutes to reach location, meaning the casualty has now been in the cold waters of the Irish Sea for at least half an hour.
We were given a rough location where they thought he would be. But when we arrived on scene, there was no sign of him. So they started searching the area.
If the person's in the water, they might just be a head above the water, which is very difficult to see, especially if you have small waves, wind blowing spray just off the top of each wave. It's very difficult to see.
The Aberdaron Coast Guard were on the cliffside, keeping an eye out, and the rescue helicopter was out as well. It's frustrating when you're out there and you can't find anything. And you know there's somebody in the water and they are deteriorating every minute, you can't find them.
So we were starting to get very concerned about the condition that we were going to find him in.
On average, the sea temperature in August is around 15 degrees. cold enough for the teenage casualty to already be facing the dangers of hypothermia and cold water shock.
Cold water can be very dangerous. You can basically go into shock and you find yourself not able to swim. Obviously, you're not thinking about the worst at that time, but thoughts go through your mind that it could be bad.
But as the search continues out at sea, a surprise call comes in to the Coast Guard, this time from the casualty himself.
Coast Guard rescue.
Thank you. I'm like 400 metres off the coast.
What's the issue with it? What's the problem?
Right, I had a paddleboard, but now I'm drowning.
You have a life jacket?
Yeah. I'm really struggling here.
Keep calm and lie on your back as much as you can with your legs wide apart.
The waves are really bad now.
That's fine, you will float over the water. What's your name?
Alfie.
Just keep breathing in and out slowly and just relax and you will float. Luckily you're wearing your life jacket.
When the comms came through from Holyhead, they said to us that he's got a life jacket on and his phone with him. That's the first time we knew that he had the buoyancy aid on him.
I'm starting to get very scared.
Please, 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 Alfie, don't panic at all. Don't panic at all, like I said, just stay on your back, stay calm.
Okay, where are you?
The call is a lifeline between the Coast Guard and Alfie. Not only does it prove he's still alive, the signal from his phone, along with Alfie's description of what he can see, also helps the Coast Guard narrow down his position.
It was initial relief that we found him, but then also sort of massive trepidation. We don't really know until we get a bit closer what we're going to find.
Hey, whoa. Oh, hey, mate. Can you come to me, mate?
His arms had cramped up so he couldn't swim anymore, and you could just tell that he was absolutely terrified.
I reached out my hand for him. I could only reach, just tip my fingers.
Alright, you're safe now, we've got you, okay?
He grabbed on and he's gripped on as hard as he could.
We're taking on the back.
We pulled him alongside and then I sort of lifted him out the water. And the first thing I noticed was how light he was, how young he was, how vulnerable he was.
You okay, mate? You're all right now? You're safe now?
He was in quite bad condition.
He was very cold. He was very confused.
You stay there. Don't waste any energy, mate. You stay there. Try and stay warm.
Though Alfie is now out of the cold sea, he is still in danger. The crew urgently assess his condition while the helicopter hovers nearby, ready to airlift him to hospital if needed.
Have you swallowed your food,
Asking him questions, he was answering different questions, which I thought was like, wow. I never saw a casualty in that state before.
Alright, need to try and stay awake from it.
Okay, mate, you okay? Come on. Stay with me. Stay awake. Just gonna put this around you. Try and keep you as warm as possible, okay? You okay? Yeah. You can still hear me, yeah?
Does anything hurt? No?
You feel sick?
You feel sick?
Keep your mouth open. Just gonna keep your airway open, okay, mate?
He's in a very bad way.
Stay with me.
Having a lot of water in him. Yeah, poor lad.
As the crew work hard to keep Alfie awake and warm, they notice a more worrying sign of his critical condition.
17. He's foaming a bit at the mouth. He's swallowed quite a bit of water.
Seems to have froth coming out of his mouth, which is an indicator of secondary drowning.
Swallowing seawater is exceptionally dangerous. Ultimately, you can drown if you ingest enough of it.
You shout at me if you want to be sick, okay?
Somebody can actually then fall into unconsciousness or even die from it. So when someone's taken in that level of water and we're seeing the sort of symptoms that we were in this instance, it's incredibly serious. So it was very clear he needed to go to hospital quickly. So the decision was made by Fritz as the helm that he was going to be airlifted.
The lifeboat and helicopter match their course and speed, ready for the airlift, while Alyssa and Ivan do what they can to reassure Alfie.
Really well.
Good job, Alfie. Get your other arm out. Well done, Alfie. Well done, mate.
Hold my hands forward, Simon.
It's really distressing when it's someone who's young and they're poorly because, you know, we're strangers. We're not mum, we're not dad, and I think our job in that circumstance is to make him feel safe.
Get this over you, mate. Get you nice and warm.
We were constantly saying to him, look, you're safe, we're here to help you. It's going to get a bit bumpy, it's going to get a bit loud, but you're safe, we're here. Because we've nothing else. There's no family members there, there's no one that they know, and it's just trying to reassure them as much as possible.
The lifeboat matches the pace of the helicopter overhead as it prepares to lower the winchman.
Just get very loud in a minute, okay? It's the helicopter, okay? Everything's all right, safe, all right?
I couldn't hear the radio chatter at that point. I was off the comms, so I was focusing on the casualty as well. Next thing I know is we were going quite fast. I was bouncing in the bow, and I remember feeling, oh, I'm going to fall out the boat here.
I'm going to wedge myself in, okay?
I'm going to move out the way, you hit that.
And then the next thing I know, there's a person to my left.
This is Alfie.
Alyssa quickly briefs the winchman, a trained paramedic, on the seriousness of Alfie's condition.
Alfie, old Chris, you okay, bud? All right, we're going to take you to the helicopter, get you checked out. Don't worry, all right?
The crew clip Alfie into a winch harness, and the lifeboat picks up speed again, ready to airlift him to the waiting helicopter.
It's going to get a bit bumpy again, but you're safe, Alfie, all right? Don't worry, it's all right, you're safe.
You okay, mate? You okay?
The point where he reached for my hand and he squeezed it so tight, you really feel like this kid's clinging on, like clinging on to life.
You're doing really well, Alfie, okay?
For me, it was a really touching moment that'll stay with me for a long time.
You'll be out of here in no time, Alfie.
I think the human touch in that situation just came from nowhere, really. I never experienced anything like it before.
Still able to breathe, okay? Yeah?
I sort of connected with Alfie, I felt a connection there.
Stay with me, stay away.
He was the only thing on my mind at the time.
I really appreciate you all.
Don't worry, mate.
He thanked us on the boat. I think he thanked the Coast Guard on the phone. I think he thanked everybody at some point. He was the most polite young man I've probably ever come across.
Sure, mate, we got this. Don't worry, all this crowd will be over in a minute, all right?
Don't worry, it's all right, you're safe.
You okay, mate?
We're going to get the coolest ride to hospital ever.
It's really weird when we're in the thick of it and someone gets winched off. It's all very intense, it's all sort of going on. You're sort of thinking, right, we're going to do this next, going to do this next, and then they're gone. If I could have gone up into that helicopter with him, I would have done it without hesitation, just purely to sit and hold his hand all the way to hospital.
Alfie is taken immediately to hospital in Bangor to be treated for hypothermia and secondary drowning, and where he is reunited with his father, who had earlier watched helplessly as the tide carried his son away.
There was probably a 10 or 15 seconds where it went from we're out on the beach, we're having a lovely day, to I think I need to get help. So I started making my way back in, and I realised just how much I was having to fight the tide and fight the wind. By the time I actually got to the shore, there was a lady and some children, and the first thing she said to me is, the Coast Guard's being phoned. I've never felt as helpless as that. I had to tell myself, there's help on the way, they're going to get Alfie, he's got his life jacket, he's got his wetsuit on.
But it was a last-minute gift that was about to save his son's life.
We'd bought him a waterproof mobile phone pouch the week before, because we know how much he likes to take video and photos and share them on Instagram and other places.
I actually asked Siri to call the emergency services, which I'd never done before, and I didn't know if my microphone would have picked up my voice, because obviously it was in water, there was a cover on it, so the sound wouldn't have got through as much. So I was kind of like, well, I'll try, because it's easier to just use your voice. Hey Siri, like, call the emergency services. And then I put it up to my ear and I could hear someone and I was like, oh my God, I actually got through. I was like, wow.
His phone saved his life. Without his phone, I don't think we could have found him unless for a stroke of luck.
Saving someone's life is the best feeling in the world. It sounds so corny and so cheesy, but it really is.
You okay, mate? You're all right now.
That person has a future that they might not ever have had before. And particularly when they're young and you think, that they might get married and have kids and careers and things like that. And because of the efforts of the team, that's now a reality.
We really appreciate you all.
The people that picked me up out of the water, they're just amazing people. I feel like love towards them because it really is like it's quite as deep as that.
Luckily for him, right, he had his buoyancy aid and his mobile phone. If he hadn't had his phone with him, I don't know, another 10 minutes, who knows what would have happened to him, because he was really cold. But, he was a good lad taking his phone with him, wasn't he?
Back on the Lizard Peninsula, and claiming the title of the most southerly on mainland Britain, is the Lizard Village.
Yeah, the Lizard Village, it's a very unique community, the Lizard. Population of around about 800 people. It is a lovely place to live. I've lived here all my life. Nice, quiet, and very enjoyable.
But it can be very wild, yeah. There have been times when I've gone down to the boathouse and thought, don't want to go out there today. But if the call comes, you go anyway, so.
Second week in May, gales howling in from the Channel, and the Coast Guard receives a distress call from a yacht out at sea, struggling against the weather.
First information I heard was that there was this yacht apparently 40 miles off and not sure if they had enough fuel to get back into Falmouth. And the guy was struggling on his own. I thought, oh, well, here we go then, we're in for a bit of a rough ride, and that was it, you just accept it and go.
The crew launched their Tamar-class all-weather lifeboat and start heading out to sea.
It was literally launch into the bay, stick your nose round the point. All you can see is big white breakers coming at you.
Gale force 8 to occasionally 9. Thank you very much.
Best part of 30, 40-foot waves, bigger than what we are. Way over us.
With a top speed of 25 knots, the Tamar would normally reach the yacht in just over an hour. But today the weather is very much against them.
We're averaging about 17.5 knots. 1700 ETA, right on, sorry.
You're travelling out and you're literally strapped in, seat belts, in the seat. It's a lumpy ride.
Being on a fairground ride.
Up and down, round and round. But most people only last roller coaster 3 minutes. Most of the time we've got to last 3 to 4 hours.
But though the weather is slowing them down, it's also pushing the yacht closer. And by the time the crew reach it an hour and a half after launch, it is now only 18 miles offshore, 20 miles nearer than when the Mayday was issued.
We actually saw the fishing vessel sparkling line first because there was a big black lump standing by her. And then all of a sudden you saw what looked like a very small yacht.
She was still trying to be underway slightly. She was going down the waves, heading in the right sort of direction. But he was struggling. You could see the skipper of the yacht. He'd probably been out there 12 hours in this already. The lady was down below. And this yacht was just up and down the waves, inside out.
Steve, can you try and make contact with him and ask him if he's all right? Does he want any assistance or just an escort back to Falmouth? OK, mate, pull him up now.
At that point, I decided that we would just escort her back into Falmouth. He was making good way. There was no real need to put anybody in danger to get on the foredeck to make a tow fast or anything like that. So my intention then was just to follow him all the way back to Falmouth, which was going to be a long drag, but it was probably the safest way to do anything.
The lifeboat moves alongside the yacht, ready for a long escort back to land.
We started running sort of more with the weather, and that was putting more strain on his rigging. There was just something that said, I'm not quite happy with this. Perhaps it's time we thought about getting somebody aboard.
Transferring a crew member to another vessel is one of the most dangerous procedures the lifeboat crews perform, especially at sea in a Force 8 gale.
So trying to transfer in those sort of conditions, you've got one boat going one way, one boat rolling the other. If they do meet, you fall in. It's automatic. You either go in the water or get squashed between the two boats. You could run into the yacht with the lifeboat. You could sink the yacht quite easy enough. Or you could put a hole in us, whichever is always going to be risks at that time of trying to transfer somebody.
But with the exhausted yacht skipper struggling to maintain a course in the rolling seas, putting a crew member on board and establishing a tow is now their best option.
I knew it was coming. I knew someone was going to have to go on there. So I was like stood back and waited for the nod, if you know what I mean.
So I looked at Darren and I said to him, you know what I'm going to ask you to do now?
And he said, would you mind? I said, I'll give it a go.
So he got the gear on, and I said to him, look, we'll maintain this course of running down weather. Don't do anything heroic. If the opportunity presents itself for you to jump aboard, then go. We got the boat all fendered up.
On the stanchion, yeah?
Made, I would call a delicate approach.
Andrew was trying to get alongside. The yacht was trying to keep a straight line. And you think, oh, I can do this, I can do this. But you've got to put yourself on that boat before you jump.
Fall between the two boats, get your leg cut between the boat, anything could go wrong.
So in my mind, I was thinking, I'm here, and this boat's doing this. So if I jump, and this boat does that, it's going to throw me straight over the other side.
And by some good luck, the two boats just rolled together.
And it was like, oh well, I can feel it. This is the right time.
See you later.
It went extremely well, and that was more by luck than good judgment. As soon as you see him aboard and he's happy, that's one weight off your mind, you know, he's intact, and then we can get on with the rest of the job of what's going on.
Darren checks the man and woman on board the yacht are okay, while the lifeboat crew prepare the tow line.
Holding in the end or no? That's all right, Johnny. Keep it coming, mate. No, it can never be too long.
Called the lifeboat back on the radio and said, look, no one's needed no medical care or anything. Next task now is, I got to put a tow line on. So the skipper of the yacht was still out. I made him try and keep control of the boat in a straight line so I could go up the bow of this yacht and try and receive the heaving line. The boat was going over and over. The mast was right over and it'd fly back up. It wasn't just flying back up, it always chucked you vigorously back the other way, like a big pendulum effect. It was pretty violently rough.
Darren manages to jam himself into position at the bow and prepares to catch the tow line.
Yeah, tower's ready, boys. What? Oh, yes. Good throw, man. Good throw.
We got the heaving line aboard.
Straight, boys.
We managed to tie fast on the front of the yacht.
But just as Darren secures the rope to the yacht, a huge wave sweeps between the two boats.
That was a big lump of water that went through then. In all the motion, the actual yacht was carried over the top of our tow line by a sea, so it was actually wrapped around his keel.
The tow rope is now in danger of dragging the yacht onto its side and sinking it.
And this is where the rest of the crew earned their money, because how are we going to get this out from behind the back of the keel of the yacht?
Realizing the danger, Darren steers the yacht into another large wave and uses the swell to lift the keel back over the tow rope.
looking for a skill, mate. He came down the blind side and untangled himself, didn't he?
So both Casualties was down below. I was on the rudder now. This is my boat now, and I got to do my bit to save this boat and them.
Happy? Make him off good, proper.
With the tow rope now secure and stable, the lifeboat turns back to port.
Simon, can you give us a course for Falmouth now, please? Yeah, I can do.
But towing a small vessel in seas like these requires constant vigilance and continuous adjustments.
Yeah, go on. Smash this one, mate.
Too slow, the yacht can drift. The line will go slack and risk getting tangled again.
Got it, boys.
Tow too quickly and the line can drag the yacht into the waves and even sink it.
There was a lot of physical effort. The rope's wet.
I've got 2 on it, well.
It's on a rolling deck.
Hang on, take one up. What?
You just have to play, you just have to establish the speed that you think is right. For that yacht, I think it was only about 4 or 5 knots.
Yeah, we got him. That's a fair old weight he came down a minute ago, wasn't it?
The lifeboat settles in for its slow and steady journey back through the mountainous seas.
5 hours should be in Falmouth.
What do you say, 5?
Yeah, 5 hours. 5 hours, it's towing.
But no matter how rough it is for the lifeboat crew, it's 10 times worse for Darren.
The waves, they was literally coming straight over the top of the yacht, straight over me, and just filling me up with water. I spent the next 5 or 6 hours waist deep in water in the cockpit of this yacht. But we managed to keep going, and lucky enough, the water was just washing off and kept us going.
By the time they get to Falmouth, they've been at sea for over 6 hours, and the light is failing. But the yacht is finally out of danger.
No matter how tired you are, when you've done what you've been asked to do, and you're leaving that vessel safe, and you're coming back to your home station, is a wonderful feeling. Absolutely magical.
Well done, boys.
It makes you realise that it's not all about taking life, it's giving back. And, you know, it's wonderful to be a volunteer. Wonderful, yeah.
I had a letter of thanks from the RNLI on this shout for doing something you didn't have to do. But I'd done what I thought I had to do, and, like I say, saved the yacht, saved 2 lives, and everything was all good.